Hello, I'm Sharon Scott Wilson. I'm publisher of Golf Course Trades magazine. I have a copy here, as a matter of fact. This is our March issue, and Jeff Shelley's article, Making the Rounds, Part 12, was in here. But if you have not subscribed, it is mailed to every golf course in the U.S., but if you would like your own copy directed to yourself, just go to golfcoursetrades.com and then you could subscribe. And we also have a weekly e-newsletter, which you are welcome to subscribe to as well. So welcome. We are launching a new series of online events called Meet Your Peers. And our idea is to network the community together in as much as possible now that we're hopefully emerging from the COVID pandemic. So throughout the whole event, please feel free to enter your opinions, comments, questions on the chat area. But today we have Jeff Shelley, as I mentioned, and most of you are probably acquainted with Jeff if you've been involved in the industry and are a reader of any kind. He has written a number of books, and he is a frequent editor, or rather submitter of articles to Golf Course Trades. So thank you, Jeff Shelley. So before we get started, we have some poll questions that we would like to, a poll question. And we wanted to get a read of what you're interested in. So what is your connection with the golf industry? Are you a golf course superintendent, golf club manager, on the board of directors, vendor or supplier, or something else? So if you would kindly click on your answers, we'll wrap up and share with you the results as we proceed. So anyway, proceeding, we'll ask Jeff Shelley to answer a few little questions about his life and his background. And it's a pleasure to have gotten to know you, Jeff. I did want to know about how you got started in the industry and how did you get writing about golf in the first place?
Well, I've always been interested in being a writer, and I've always loved sports. My dad used to take me to boxing matches when I was 10 years old and football games. I remember one time I came home. I was wearing my Sunday best, and I came home and I had spit and blood all over because my dad always had ring seats. So I remember reading his subscriptions to Ring magazine, and then he got me a subscription to Sports Illustrated when I was about 10 or 11, and I read those voraciously. I played sports. I grew up in Yakima, Washington, which is on the east side of the Cascades, so it's a real dry environment, and we had all 4 seasons. So in the summer I played football, in the winter basketball, and the spring baseball, and track, and also golf. I lived right next to a golf course, so I always wanted to be a writer. It took a long time. The Vietnam War kind of interrupted my collegiate experience, and I ended up after the Army, I lived in Billings, Montana, and I took English classes there at Eastern Montana College. I expired the English curriculum out there, and so I moved back to Seattle and finished up with a degree in creative writing for the University of Washington. And I happened upon a seminar that was entitled "What to Do with an English Degree Besides Teach." And I got involved. There were 2 gentlemen from the engineering department there, and I got involved in technical writing. And that provided me with an opportunity to learn a trade, whereas writing wasn't exactly what I wanted to write, but I was going to get paid for it. At the time, I had a wife and a young baby, and I made it through that technical writing program. I was rejected by 33 potential employees before I finally got a job. And after I got that job, a friend of mine came up to me and he said, "We're starting a new magazine. Would you like to be the editor of it?" I go, "Okay." And turned out the name of the magazine was Boat Racing, and I was not into boating or anything like that, but it was definitely a shoestring operation. It was a 4-color magazine. And the graphic designer and me, we literally laid out magazines on the back of an old door hanging off chains in a room. But I learned about all the printing processes, the halftones, the color separations, laying out a magazine, ad placements, typesetting, all the nuts and bolts that are involved in creating a 4-color magazine. And so I once I got laid off the company that my original technical writing job, they way over hired people, and I got laid off, but I found another job quickly, and I ended up using those print skills at the next job. So I handled all the in-house manuals, data sheets, things like that. Fast forward a couple of years, I left that company, and I started freelancing, and I literally woke up one morning at 3:00 in the morning with a crazy idea to write the definitive golf guide for the Pacific Northwest. And so I wrote that down. I talked to my wife about it the next day, and she was working at the time. She says, "Yeah, go for it." So I tried. I outfitted her Volvo station wagon with curtains, and I was going to sleep in that to save money. And originally I was going to walk every golf course, play every single hole, and photograph it. And the first day I went to this fantastic course called Elkhorn Valley in Oregon. And the next course on the agenda was an 18-holer. That was, anyway, make a long story short, it was too brutal to walk the golf course, carry a 5-pound camera. And so I changed things up from there. And the car was a terrible, it was not a good idea. But ultimately, after 3 years, I had a manuscript. I got rejected by 13 publishers. And finally, the 13th one went for it. And it happened to be a wonderful, they were the biggest publishers in the Northwest at the time. They had 160 titles, and my book within 6 months was a bestseller. So
wow, good for you. Your study and tenacity, Jeff.
Yeah.
I admire you. So what else have you done in the golf industry? I remember you have a pretty varied portfolio.
By that book, the first edition of Golf Courses of the Pacific Northwest, I went on to do 2 more editions, and the third one was kind of like my magnum opus. It was 600 pages, and anyway, that was kind of like, I'm not saying that I became an expert, but it certainly gave me a lot of attention from within the Northwest community anyway. And so I've gotten involved in a lot of different things. Media director of the Fred Couples tournament. What was a two-day event in the mid-90s, whereby Freddie would have his buddies like Phil Mickelson, Davis Love, Arnold Palmer. Oh man, you name it. They would come to Seattle and play this two-year event. And we went from 20. I took the media responses from 20 to over 125. In the last couple of years, I got a call and said, "There's somebody here called Golf Channel that wants to talk to you." I'd never heard of him before in my life. So that was how, that was a great time in golf. There's a lot of things going on. And I met a guy at the Fred Couples Invitational. Him and his wife were there. His name is Dan Mernan, and he was this is in '97, I think. And Dan was doing live broadcasts on the internet. And I'd heard of the internet, but I had no idea what it was. I was like an ink-stained wretch, And Dan became great friends, and I went to work as the editorial director of CyberGolf in 2000, and I was there from 2000 to 2015. I had a freelance crew of probably 60 to 80 around the world. We were in their heydays. We were getting 2 million unique visitors a month. We were one of the largest golf internet websites around. I also did Golf Construction News, which is I track golf projects around the United States on a subscription basis, and it was wonderful. I had a great time there for 15 years. In the meantime, I've been managing editor of a couple other magazines. I was the golf writer for Alaska Airlines, In-Flight magazine, and I created an organization called the Northwest Golf Media Association, and that was a lot of fun. Anyway, yeah, I've gotten a little bit into everything. I created a publishing company and a lot of magazines, online stuff. I've been on, I don't know, I've probably been to over 100 grand openings of golf courses. I've been around the world. When I was at Cyber Golf, I'd schlepp this heavy laptop around the world, and I'd do tour updates from England, Ireland, the Caribbean, everywhere I went. And the internet's kind of like a voracious beast. As soon as you put something up there, it's pretty much obsolete. So anyway, it was a lot of work, but I had a lot of fun.
Wow, good for you. Wow, a bundle of energy. And in all this time, you even managed to write 9 books or publish 9 books. Tell us about those.
I had a publishing company called Fairgreens Publishing, and 5 of the books were about golf. Three of them were my edition, my book. I also did the Northwest Golfer's Almanac. I did something called it's the 100-year centennial of the PNGA, Pacific Northwest Golf Association, which is you might see a photo of that coming up. That was a fantastic project. And in addition, I had a friend at my club who was an immigration attorney, and so I did 2 of his books, Immigration Handbook. Henry sold those things all around the world. They've been transcribed into different languages. And in addition, I did a book called Tide Flats to Tomorrow, the history of the Soto section of Seattle. It's Soto means south of downtown. It's a wonderful book my wife designed. And in addition, I did another book. My wife's a graphic designer. She's done several of my books. And we're a great team. And also the last book I did was in 2015. It's the history of Seattle sports. And that was written by my friend Dan Rayleigh. So, the book, I love that creative aspects of doing books and having them, being able to create these individual things. But, I wouldn't say that I'm a great businessman, but, it was great. The whole book publishing arena has changed so much in recent years that the smaller publishers like me can't compete with the big ones. It's really what it comes down to. So
no kidding. Well, while we were speaking earlier, our team, Jeff White, has posted a couple of items. One, all of your articles. There's a link to your series on golfcoursetrades.com. And also he put a link to our YouTube channel so that eventually when your video is posted, they can follow that link. And also wanted to welcome Kristen Campbell from Bend, Oregon. I love Bend, Oregon, Kristen. Thank you for coming.
That's my niece.
And, oh, bless her supportive heart.
Hi, Chris.
And also, we have posted your email. And now we have also posted our next topic, which will be about First Green merging with GCSAA, which is an article you wrote, I think, last fall, if I'm not mistaken. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, First Green was started out here in Bellevue, or in the state of Washington, and I was involved with the original group. And their orientation, they had a lot of educators on there and other people that outside of golf, and they were going to target the future farmers of America and things like that. And what the program does is it brings it helps bring school kids on field trips 2 golf courses where they conduct STEM learning experiments. In other words, what they do is they utilize the knowledge of superintendents and the science that they use to maintain their golf courses and conserve resources that they have and so forth. And I wasn't, other things came along, and I kind of backed away. And then I saw Karen Armstead, who's the executive director of First Green, at a golf association meeting, and I went up to her and I said, "Hey, I was involved with this previously," and she said, "Do you want to come up to a superintendent's show up in Linwood and talk about it and meet our board?" So I went up there and I talked to them about some of my thoughts about it, and I had to go to the bathroom. When I came back, they said, "You're the president." So I was the president for 7 years. We are tight little group of 6 people. We gave the image, we made it a national organization, which is very, very rewarding. And it was so wonderful to work with superintendents all over the country, as a matter of fact. But this little program in the Northwest is really expanded now that the GCSAA has taken it over along with the Environmental Institute for Golf. During our time, we brought, I don't know, well over 20,000 kids through that came out to golf courses. They'd bring their parents, they would come with their teachers, and so many of them came in there with preconceived ideas about how golf was bad for the environment, that it just overused water and other resources and used a lot of chemicals on golf courses, when in fact the opposite's true. So we proved to them that these superintendents are wonderful stewards of the environment, and they're conservationists at heart. So we had tremendous support from various golf associations out here in the Northwest, as well as the USGA, and Kimberly Arusha, who's the head of the green section back at the USGA. She's a huge supporter. And Dave Phipps, he was on our board. He was a Northwest representative, field rep for the GCSAA. He was a tremendous help. Steve Keeley, he's an Iron Man for First Green. And so anyway, we drew the attention of the GCSAA, and wow, next thing you know, they merged the program. It's been difficult this year because kids haven't been in school. So hopefully when everything gets back to normal, the field trips will start taking place again. And hopefully the way that the GCSAA and the Environmental Institute for Golf sees it, they want to make this a national and perhaps even an international organization. So it's very, very rewarding to be involved with First Green at the ground floor and helping it become a national, real viable educational tool. And we didn't convince kids that they needed to play golf. What we wanted to do was change their views about what golf courses are, that those big green spaces behind the fences are actually really beneficial to the environment. So, and to me, that was very rewarding.
Yeah, it's a great effort. And I hope that you'll be able to write for Golf Course Trades a little more about it too, because the greater exposure for improving the environment, the more benefit to us all, and certainly to the game.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, I had a long, I've met so many superintendents over the years. When I'd go to, I traveled within the Northwest alone. I traveled over 200,000 miles, to 550 golf courses. Not all, some of the podunk courses didn't have a superintendent, but still, I'd always see somebody out, whoever's on a tractor or working at some of these smaller rural places, and talk to them. But I have tremendous respect for them. They work hard. They're the most educated. I don't mean to hurt any feelings here, but they're definitely the most educated in a golf course. Most of them have 4-year science degrees, for crying out loud. So
that's one thing that impressed me when I first took over editing and managing the magazine was the level of education. Mm-hmm. And attending GCSAA events has been a real eye opener as well. Mm-hmm. These people are very professional. They're not necessarily, dirt under your fingernail totally, although they don't mind getting dirt.
They don't
under
mind
their
getting
nails.
Right. No, and what a great job. I mean, you're outside, you're in nature, the work that you're doing is showing tangible benefits, and
Yeah.
a lot of it's repairs, but nonetheless, that's just the way it is. It's you can't control nature. So,
Well, my husband actually he and his father designed a golf course near us, which is still thriving. But he observed that if you let a course go for a year or so, you just can't get it back. It requires constant management.
Yeah, you got to be on top of it. The story I wrote today or the newest story about big hair, funny pants, or excuse me, big hat, no cattle. Golf
Well, I like the big hair, funny pants. Save that one.
That's actually a tournament we created out here. Big hair, funny pants. Never had a blast.
That's great.
But big hair, no cattle. Mark Miller is a good buddy of mine. He's a golf course architect. He's now in Denver, but he actually got him and the people at his firm in Honolulu got to play a golf course because the developer he had to pay a user's fee at that time. They had the Japanese developers coming in there and spending, buying up all the properties and stuff like that. And the mayor said, okay, well, if you want to develop a golf course, you're going to have to pay $25 million. And so he paid the developer over there, paid the initial half, but he didn't pay the second half. But they had the staff there, the greens crew, maintaining it. So Mark and his people, they kept this own private golf course, beautiful golf course. I don't know why, until things changed. So anyway.
Well, we'd love to meet Mark sometime. Yeah, I believe he might even be watching this and attending. Yeah. So
gotta give him a shout out.
That's great. That's great. Yeah. Well, Jeff, we have really enjoyed this time with you. Thank you so much. And thank you for all of your fine contributions to the magazine and indirectly to the industry itself and all of those involved in it.
Well, I feel very lucky to have a golf writing career. I've been doing it for 34 years, and if people will still allow me to write for them, I'll keep doing it as long as I can. So
That's good.
I really appreciate you reaching out to me and keeping me active writing, and it's invigorated me. So thank you.
Well, thank you, and tell Annie thank you for her support, trying to keep the animals at bay and everything else.
She's right here. She's
thank you, Annie.
She's giving me the high sign, so when I drag on,
she says, yeah.
No, we're good.
Yeah. Well, thank you again. And thank you to our attendees. We'll be posting this on YouTube, on our Golf Course Trades channel. So I encourage everybody to go on there, make comments, suggestions for other things, perhaps, that you'd like to see other people we could interview, or that Jeff could talk about.
Sure.
Or you could talk about.